They say college is where life truly begins. For me, it was supposed to be a fresh start. New faces, new hopes, and the freedom I had longed for after high school. I didn't know then that it would also be the place where my heart would find its greatest joy and its deepest wound. I wasn't the loud, confident type. I blended into the crowd. Just another girl carrying books and chasing dreams. But fate has a strange way of choosing moments you never expect. That's when I saw him. Adrian. He wasn't just handsome, he was magnetic. Every girl's eyes followed him, every whisper carried his name. Yet somehow, his gaze stopped on me. One look, one smile, and it felt as if the world had shifted under my feet. I should have looked away. I should have kept walking. But my heart betrayed me that day. With one smile, Adrien became the beginning of a story I thought would end in forever. What I didn't know was that forever has many faces, and sometimes it wears the mask of betrayal. The days that followed blurred into weeks, but that smile, his smile, never left my mind. I caught myself searching for him in every hallway, in every classroom window, even in the crowd at the cafeteria. And when I finally saw him again, it felt like fate had listened to my unspoken prayers. He approached me with a confidence that both frightened and excited me. "You're new here, right?" His voice was deep, smooth, and warm enough to melt away my nervousness. I nodded, barely able to speak, and somehow that made him laugh. "I'm Adrian, second year. And you are?" That was how it began. Simple, innocent, almost too ordinary for the storm it would later unleash. Adrien and I became inseparable. He walked me to classes, saved me a seat in lectures, and stayed up late just to help me study. Soon, it wasn't just about books and lessons. It was about stolen glances, secret smiles, and long walks under the moonlight. One evening, as we sat by the campus fountain, he gently held my hand. My world shifted. The noise of the city, the chatter of students, everything disappeared. "I like you," he whispered. And before I could answer, his lips touched mine. Soft, gentle, certain. In that moment, I believed I had found the kind of love girls only read about in fairy tales. I gave him my heart without hesitation, without fear. Little did I know, I was giving him the power to destroy me. Love in college is different. It's wild, reckless, and untamed. It was as if Adrien and I were the only two people in the world. Days felt shorter when I was with him, and nights seemed endless when he held me close. We studied together, laughed until our stomachs hurt, and shared dreams about the future. He wanted to build a company of his own. I wanted to write stories that would touch hearts. Together, we promised we would conquer the world. But it wasn't just about promises. It was about the little things. The way he'd slip his jacket over my shoulders when the night grew cold. The way he'd trace his fingers across my cheek as though memorizing me. The way he'd whisper my name like it was the only word that mattered. And yes, we made love. Not just in the physical sense, but in the way young lovers do. Giving ourselves completely, body and soul, believing it was forever. I thought I had found home in him. I held on to Adrien with every fiber of my being, blind to the shadows that would one day tear us apart. Because when you're young and in love, you never imagine betrayal. You only imagine eternity.
Time flew faster than I expected. The The semesters blurred into years, and before I could catch my breath, we were both standing in our graduation gowns. Adrien looked breathtaking that day, his cap slightly tilted, his smile proud yet soft when his eyes found mine in the crowd. After the ceremony, he pulled me aside, away from the noise of cheering families. He wrapped his arms around me and whispered, "We made it. And this is just the beginning." His words felt like an oath, a bond unbreakable. I believed him with every beat of my heart. We spoke of the future as if it already belonged to us. Jobs, a home, maybe even children someday. I could already see myself walking down the aisle with him waiting for me at the altar. My parents had always told me to choose carefully, and I thought I had chosen perfectly. It was only natural then to want them to meet the man who held my heart. "Come home with me," I said softly one evening. "Meet my family. They'll love you." I never knew that this decision, the one that felt so right, so necessary, would become the seed of my deepest regret. For love is not only built on promises, it can also crumble in silence when you least expect it.
The day I took Adrien home, my heart beat faster than it ever had. My parents had always been protective, especially of me, their eldest daughter. But I was sure they would love him the way I did. He was everything a woman could dream of: handsome, intelligent, respectful, and charming. When we arrived, my mother's smile widened as she welcomed him. My father studied him quietly, as if measuring the worth of the man who held his daughter's future. But what I didn't notice at first, what I didn't want to notice, was the way my younger sister, Clara, stared at him. She was beautiful, I can't deny it. Lively, playful, and carefree in ways I had never been. She laughed easily, her presence filling every corner of the house. And Adrien, well, he noticed. I told myself it was harmless. A polite glance, a friendly laugh, nothing more. Days turned into weeks, and Adrien began visiting more often. At first, it was for me, but slowly, I felt something shifting, like an invisible thread pulling him away. He lingered longer in conversations with Clara. His laughter with her was louder, warmer, almost different. I silenced my doubts. He was mine. We had built years of love. I couldn't imagine otherwise. But sometimes the heart refuses to see what the eyes can't ignore. At first, I convinced myself it was nothing. The way Adrian's eyes followed Clara across the room, the way he laughed at her jokes more easily than mine. I told myself I was imagining it, that jealousy was twisting my vision. But late at night, when I replayed the moments in my mind, the unease grew stronger. He had started arriving at the house when he knew I would be busy helping my mother or running errands. Sometimes, when I came back unexpectedly, I would find him and Clara sitting too close, whispering, only to pull apart when they saw me. My heart would pound, but Adrien always had an explanation. "She was just showing me something funny on her phone," he'd say. Or, "You know how lively she is. She talks to everyone like this." And Clara? She would just smile, her eyes daring me to question her further. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. After all, this was the man I had given everything to. My love, my trust, even my innocence. How could I accept that he might be slipping away? So I stayed silent, forcing smiles, burying my doubts deep inside. But silence is dangerous. It becomes a wall that hides the truth, until the truth is too big to hide. One evening, I returned home earlier than expected. The house was quiet, too quiet.
My parents had gone out, and I thought Adrien would be waiting for me, as he often did. But when I stepped inside, I heard laughter, soft, hushed, and unmistakably intimate. It came from the kitchen. I froze. My breath caught in my chest. Slowly, I walked closer, my heart thundering so loudly I feared they would hear it. And there they were, Adrien and Clara. He leaned in, whispering something into her ear, and she threw her head back in laughter. His hand brushed hers, lingering too long for it to be innocent. My world tilted. I wanted to scream, to confront them both, but my voice betrayed me. Instead, I turned and fled to my room, tears burning my eyes, my chest aching with betrayal I could not yet name. That night, I asked Adrien about it. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're overthinking. Clara is just your sister. I could never see her that way." His words sounded reassuring, but his eyes told another story. I tried to believe him, but deep inside, I knew. Whispers in the dark always grow into secrets too loud to hide.
It was a Sunday afternoon when the truth finally broke me. I had gone to visit a friend, but something urged me to return home earlier. Perhaps it was instinct, or maybe fate wanted me to see what I had been refusing to face. As I walked through the gate, I heard voices coming from the garden. Familiar voices, Adrian's and Clara's. I moved closer, my steps careful, my heart heavy. What I saw will forever remain etched into my soul. Adrian's hands were on Clara's waist, pulling her close. She looked up at him with eyes I once believed were meant only for me, and then, without hesitation, he kissed her. Deeply, passionately, as though she was the only woman in the world. The sound that tore from my chest didn't even feel human. They both turned, their faces pale, eyes wide. Adrien stuttered my name, but the damage was already done. My heart crumbled into pieces I could never gather again. The man I had loved, the man I had trusted with my future, had chosen my own sister. And worse, my sister had chosen him too. I ran, not because I was weak, but because staying there meant drowning in betrayal, too heavy for my soul to carry. Some truths don't just hurt. They kill something inside you forever. Days turned into weeks, but the wound never healed. The house that once felt warm became a prison of whispers and stolen glances. My parents, blinded by joy, celebrated Adrian's constant visits, never suspecting the truth I carried like a knife in my chest. Then came the announcement. One evening, as we all sat around the dinner table, Clara shyly said she had something to share. Adrien took her hand in front of us and smiled. A smile that used to be mine. He said, "We're getting married." The room erupted with joy. My parents clapped. Tears filled their eyes, and Clara blushed under their blessings. But me? I sat frozen, the walls closing in. My heart screamed, but no sound left my lips. I wanted to protest, to expose their betrayal, but the words choked me. How could I break my parents' happiness?
How could I admit that the man they now adored had once shared my bed, my dreams, my soul? So I swallowed my pain, watching the love of my life slip completely out of my hands and into my sister's. And when their wedding day finally came, I stood among the guests, smiling through tears that burned hotter than fire. It was her veil, her dress, her vows, but in my heart, I knew it should have been mine.
The wedding was over. The music faded, the guests left, and my sister began her new life with the man who was once my everything. I returned to my room that night, still wearing the dress I had chosen so carefully, but inside I was empty, stripped of every dream I had once built. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying it all. The first smile Adrien gave me in college, the promises we made under the stars, the plans we whispered for a future that was never meant to be. Each memory felt like a knife, twisting deeper into my heart. I regretted ever bringing him home. If I had kept him to myself, maybe he would still be mine. Maybe he would never have met Clara. Maybe my heart wouldn't be bleeding like this. But regrets don't change the past. They only haunt the present. And so, I carry this story not as a lesson in love, but as a scar, a reminder that sometimes the people you love most are the ones who betray you the deepest. I lost Adrien, I lost Clara, but most painfully, I lost the girl I used to be, the girl who once believed in forever. Some wounds never heal. They only teach you how to live broken.